Volkswagen Mark II Production GTI Championship and Mark V Production GTI Series is sponsored by Teekay Couplings.
Welcome to Snetterton for this round of the Teekay Couplings Production Class GTI races. With the introduction of the Mark V this season, it's all set for a great day's racing.
The Teekay Couplings Mark II Production GTI Championship features the ever-popular Volkswagen Golf in two classes, Class A for 16-valve and Class B for 8-valve. Top driver Simon Hill is making the switch to the new Mark Vs for this year. We went to find out why.
It was really a case of it was time for me to try something different. I'd been in my old particular car for 7 years, and I just have always quite liked the Mark V cars. They're a great road car, which is always a good basis to start a race car with. And I had a test drive of one, and it was just amazing thing to drive. So I just said, that's it for me. I'll come and give it a go, and here I am.
How are you going to do today?
Well, I only saw the car for the first time last night. I've driven it for the first time this morning, and that was it. I've had one as a road car, so I know they're pretty good. For today, it's really just a case of settling into it, making some adjustments, and actually getting a bit of seat time behind it. I've got no aspirations of trying to win today. I'm going to do my very best, but I know some of the other guys have been doing some testing and done some quick times, so we'll just see how it goes.
There is actually another competitor who's moved up from Mark II as well. Are you going to be keeping an eye on him? Is he actually someone that you are going to try and beat today?
Yeah, I'll be keeping an eye on everybody. Hopefully in my mirrors, but it'll be it's going to be a pretty tight day, I think, and the weather looks like it might change, so I think anything can happen in racing.
Bit scary now, faster, more powerful car.
Yeah, very quick car. But you just take to it. You go down the straights in anything, and it just doesn't seem fast enough at the time. But you very quickly get accustomed to it. It's just an extension of what you already know from a previous car.
I believe you just come off qualifying, and it was quite interesting. Can you just tell us what happened?
Yeah, it didn't go as we had planned. We had a steering lock-up and also the brakes caught fire, so it was a bit of a pain, but we'll be fine. It was the first time we've run this car. It's straight out of the box, so we expected a few teething problems, so it'll be fine. The team are on it.
So was that a bit scary?
Thankfully it was in a slow corner, so we just slid off nice and gently. If it had happened on a faster corner, it could have been a bit more catastrophic, but it was okay. It'll be fine.
So you just made the transition now, haven't you, from the Mark II? And what made you do that?
I think it seemed that the Mark V is a natural progression. It's a logical progression from the Mark IIs. So it's nice to get newer technology. The cars look great, and as soon as I test drove one in January, I know I really had to have one.
So your competitor, who you've been chasing around for the last 2 seasons, who you've been runner-up to, are you going to be keeping an eye on him today? You're hoping to change that?
The dreaded Simon Hill. Yes, we are going to change that. Yeah, definitely. It's been great, and I'm really pleased that he's made the transition as well, because we've been sparring partners for a couple of years now, and it's nice that we can continue that.
Hi Andy.
Hiya.
We're just standing in front of your
Sad little Mark V.
Yeah, that you were hoping to race in today, but you've had some engine troubles. Just tell us about those.
Yes, on Thursday when we came up for free practice, we blew the bottom end, threw the conrod out the front and the rear of the engine. So fortunately, thanks to TPS, they brought up a new bottom end, and we had it yesterday morning, and as you can see, she's rebuilt, ready to go. So hopefully, oh no, we've actually got fuel issues at the moment, so we probably won't make it out for this race. We might try and make it out for the next one, but just have to wait and see what happens.
So you are actually racing in the Mark II as well. Yes, you're only 1 or 2 drivers. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How does that actually differ?
The driving style is completely different. In the Mark II, you really have to sort of manoeuvre the car around, throw it around a bit, try and slide it into a corner, whereas these are so planted, and it's such a nice car to drive. You just turn into a corner and it grips. It's just a nice car to drive compared to the Mark II. The Mark IIs are fun, don't get me wrong, but the Mark V is a lot better car to drive.
A little bit of history in the making here. The first ever Teekay Couplings Mark V production GTI series race. Remember, a series until established, it'll become a championship hopefully next year. The lights go out and it's Jason Tingle on pole position, but he's a little bit slow off the line. And Simon Hill to the outside. It's Robert Sadler leading at the moment, both of them in Teekay livering cars. Sadler on the inside, Hill's going round the outside. So down towards Montreal for the first time, and it's Hill that leads. Sadler in second position, and then up into third goes Martin Walsh from fifth on the grid, followed by Craig Fleming. Then it's the white and blue car of Chris Adams. Chris Adams, lots of experience in racing, as Jason Tingle comes through and goes through on the inside to take second position away from Rob Sadler. Martin Walsh is still there in fourth position. Chris Adams at the back, started racing at Castle Combe in 1995 in the Castle Combe Saloon Car Championship, and you might know the name from Stock Hatch, Super Coupes and the VW Racing Cup. And as I said, there are a lot of people looking at this series. The one thing that you'll get if you come into this series is the camaraderie, but also some very fine drivers. We've got Jason Tingle, 26 years of age, a little bit of a young gun really, you've got to say, ex-Super 1 Carter, VW Golf champion. And he's in orange, running in second place, chasing Simon Hill, multi-champion. Simon's been with the championship and indeed the original series of the Mark II since it started back on Easter Monday in 2011 at Castle Combe. Appropriately, he was second in the first ever race from Nick Porter, but won race 2 at that opening meeting, and he's never looked back since. As you can see, still a quality driver leading this one. There is Craig Fleming in number 7, who's raced in cadets, BARC, Formula Renault, British Formula 3 and British Open Sports Car Series. So there's lots of experience in this field, and they're all racing these cars for the first time. But it's Simon Hill still out front. There is Rob Sadler in third position, flying the flag proudly for Teekay Couplings, but Jason Tingle makes a move down the inside and takes the lead from Simon Hill. So Tingle goes through, Hill relegated to second. Are we going to see a repeat of Simon Hill's second position in the inaugural Mark II race at Castle Combe? It looks like we might. He will fight back. Sadly, problems by the look of it for Chris Adams, the vastly experienced driver, pulling up into pit lane at the end of lap 2, but it's Jason Tingle still there at the moment from Simon Hill in 51, second position, qualified fourth on the grid. The qualifying time by Tingle was a 2 minute 13.754, 9/100ths of a second quicker than Robert Sadler. It was very close between the top two in qualifying. Craig Fleming was only 2/10ths down on the race leader as well, third fastest, and Simon Hill second down in his. So remember, all these guys are shaking their cars down for the first time. So through Williams and onto the Bentley straight, there is Martin Walsh, as you heard in the interviews, runner-up to Simon Hill a couple of occasions. He's been around the championship a long time as well, was third in the 16 valves and indeed overall back as far as 2012 when John Maudsley won the championship. Simon Hill was second that year, Martin Walsh third. So he's got had a lot of staying power in the championship, and I think that just goes to show you how well organised this championship is and how friendly the paddock is as well. So is this going to develop into a battle for third place? Certainly it looks like Martin Walsh is trying to get on the case of Robert Sadler. So Sadler, the Ashton-based driver in the Teekay Couplings car, is running well, but it's Jason Tingle still out front at the moment. Simon Hill is getting closer though. Tingle's got the fastest lap, 2 minutes 13.8, a shade slower than his pole position time in the qualifying session. Hill chasing well. Martin Walsh is having a look up the inside of Rob Sadler to try and get onto the podium, but that's the outside line into the next corner, the left-hander at Palmer, so Sadler will make the most of that. But look at that, Martin Walsh powers his way round the outside, finds the grip, takes third position, but it's Tingle down at Agostini who's going to open his account with a win here by the looks of it. He's got 3 or 4 lengths at the moment over Simon Hill. Then it's Martin Walsh. You've still got Craig Fleming in the mix as well, not too far away from the number 8 car of Robert Sadler. But does it look as if the podium's settled? Yes, it does at the moment. So it's Tingle, Hill and wide. There's a problem for Simon Hill. Just as I said, the podium was settled. Simon Hill's got a problem. He's off on the grass. Will he be able to nurse the car home to the finish? Well, out front it's Jason Tingle. Better not talk too soon. Into Brundle, left-hander, then round into the right-hander here at Nelson. Then they'll go down into the bomb hole, but Tingle, he's still got the fastest lap. He's got a decent lead now. It's out to 3.5 seconds. The Interskill car is running absolutely sweetly as it goes into Gorham for the last time. So Jason Tingle looks like he's on to win the first Teekay Couplings Mark V production Volkswagen GTI series race. He comes out of Murray's and will now see the checkered flag, which is being readied for him on the podium. It is going to be a win for Tingle. There's the checker, and there is the win for Jason Tingle. Martin Walsh will come through for second, challenged by Rob Sadler with Craig Fleming, and Simon Hill will indeed be classified as having completed the distance. He is in 5th place, and ahead of him Craig Fleming. As we said, the podium, Jason Tingle, Martin Walsh and Robert Sadler. Sadly, non-finish for Chris Adams. Let's hope that those problems can be sorted out and he can rejoin us later on in the meeting for race 2. But there is the podium, and on the top step, Jason Tingle with Martin Walsh and Robert Sadler, who enjoyed the spoils of victory here at Snet.
Congratulations, Jason Tingle, first ever winner of the Mark V GTI. A bit of a battle there going on with Hill. What happened then? How did you manage to secure first place?
I think what secured it was just keeping concentration on my eyes in front and not thinking about him behind. He didn't really put too much pressure on me, so eventually I think he was waiting till later on. Obviously later on he got a problem, which is unfortunate because I'd like to have had the battle maybe, but no, comfortable win in the end.
Well done, Robert. 3rd place on the podium. First Mark V race ever. How do you feel?
I'm very pleased with that, actually. I got a really good start, and I think I led for the first 2 corners, and then I could see Simon Hill on the left of me, and he's very, very quick, so I think I bottled it a bit, if I'm honest. But no, I'm well chuffed with that. Really, really good. And the racing was good fun and exciting to watch, I'm sure.
Number 2 on the podium was fantastic.
Yeah, I'm really, really thrilled. It's like I said earlier, it's a new car, and we didn't know what to expect. There was a bit of fortune about it. I feel sorry for poor Simon Hill. He pulled off with a mechanical problem, but I think we looked like we had the pace there, and there's a lot more to come. I'm chuffed to bits.
Tell us about your course. You're actually all university students, aren't you? Motorsports engineering. Just tell us how that has got you to the race here.
So yeah, all 4 of us in Dream Tech Racing are studying at UE in Bristol. We're all doing motorsport engineering. It's a brilliant course. I mean, a lot of it is kind of more theoretical based. It's quite a tough course, quite mathematical and things like that. But we kind of wanted to do something that was going to add something to our CVs afterwards. You know, motorsport's notoriously difficult to get into. So yeah, just we kind of grouped together and thought, you know, yeah, we can work for some other teams, but how about we go and show what we can do on our own? You know, if we put all of our time and all of our effort and our money into it alongside the course. So we've got sort of both aspects then. We've got the practical side and also the tough stuff that the course brings with all the theory.
So what's made you enter such a big race?
Yeah, the Production GTI Championship is brilliant. Everyone's friendly. You know, it is the grid sizes that attract you. You know, if you want to come and show how good you are, and you want to come and show how good you are against 30 people, and that's what it's all about. Everyone's friendly. And yeah, you know, if you want to be the best, you've got to be the best out of everyone.
And here I'm joined by Ian and Chris Webb, who are participating sponsors of this year's championship. If you could just tell us a little bit about Teekay Couplings.
Yes, of course. Teekay Couplings manufacture pipe fittings, and we have exported them all over the world for nearly 40 years. So to sponsor a championship like this means that we can get involved in a sport which is compatible with the profile of the company for engineering, and also it involves a lot of our colleagues and distributors around the world who follow us incessantly on our progress every time that we come racing. So it's a real team builder for the company, and is a very nice thing to do with our friends and colleagues around the world.
So how do you feel that you've got your dad chasing you around?
Absolutely no problems at all. It's fantastic. It's a really nice thing for us to do as a family. Not only do we work together, but we come out and we do the racing together, and it's a really good way to spend a weekend. And we've got, you know, my mum's here, my sister's here, and we'll be having colleagues and friends and people who actually follow us through the year. So we have people from CA Baldwin's, from Science Express. They all come along and watch, and it's just a really nice atmosphere, I'd say.
So which of you two was the absolute motorsport fan? Who started first? Who got who into it?
I dragged him into this, so it's quite unconventional, because normally it's the father that drags the son into this sort of thing, but it's working well for us, and we're just having really good fun.
So you're obviously a great supporter of your son. So how do you feel now to actually be competing against him?
It's a very strange experience to begin with, and you have to know how to be very humble. But in actual fact, it just reflects the spirit of the paddock here with Production GTI. This is the sort of racing it is. It's safe, it's affordable, and the team spirit here amongst the competitors is absolutely fantastic. And that's why we do it. We're looking for something that fits the profile of our type of company, which is a family-run firm. And we enjoy doing this very, very much. So it was a great pleasure to be brought in. And in actual fact, a lot of the competitors here said, come on Ian, you've got to get involved. So a lot of the time, I'm afraid, I'm watching the race from somewhat to the back. I've tried everything. I put a sticker on the car saying sponsor on board, please do not overtake, and it actually didn't achieve anything, so I've just got to mix in there as best as I can.
Thomas Witts on pole position for the Mark IIs, Jason Tingle alongside, then Tim Hartland and Alistair Miles. Class B pole goes to Andrew Aldridge. Lights out here, 29 cars away. It looks like Witts has made a terrific start, very crowded going down into turn one. Luke Wales was second in Class B, and he's going to be looking to try and find a gap. The poleman is the white car, and he's going to try and go through, and I think there's contact between the two. Yes, there is. He goes off kilter onto the grass. Goodness me, he's working hard to get it back onto the tarmac, and the pole position man, Andrew Aldridge, goes back into the class lead. 82 in the mix was Darcy Smith. The leaders are through Montreal. We go in car with Chris Webb, fourth position behind Alistair Miles. Up front though, we've got Thomas Witts and Jason Tingle, and it looks like Webb's going to put a move here on Miles, going down into Agostini. A very good passing place, and Webb knows that, and he made a very good job of that. A good clean manoeuvre through into a potential podium position. Still Thomas Witts from Jason Tingle in second position, and then Chris Webb third from Alistair Miles. Christopher Sanders running in fifth place, and this a little bit further back, not too far back, Adam Hance in 22, who is passed there by Dean Clayton. David Parris up ahead of them in the green and pink car, very distinctive livery, and Josh Johnson in 21 there as well, followed by Paul Foreman in 27, Ipswich-based driver Paul Foreman, so this pretty much a home race for him as we go in car with Adam Hance once again. So there's Paul Foreman being chased by Alex Nuttall. The white car is Cambridge man Matthew Weller, clearly a home race for him as well. Format of the championship, 6 double headers each season, and this is the first of those for this year. So they go through Coram, and the leader goes across the line. Thomas Witts, Jason Tingle second, Chris Webb, then Alistair Miles, followed by Christopher Sanders into turn one they go, and at the moment Miles is still trying to get back on terms with Webb as they go on to lap number 2, going down in towards the Montreal hairpin. Just saw David Paris there chasing hard. Dean Clayton in red holding on. This is the view from Adam Hance. So Josh Johnson trying to look down the inside of David Paris, who gets defensive, goes back out to the outside line for the left-hand sweep around Palmer Corner. This is the run to Agostini. Remember, we very often see moves get set up. That's what Paris is doing on Clayton. Goes through on the inside line. Josh Johnson's going to do it as well. Adam Hance might be too far back to have a go. He's having a look. But Dean Clayton gets across. 2 places lost, 1 place saved, you might say there. And this really shaping up well. They're going through Hamilton and then up towards Oggies, which is the first of 2 right-hand corners that bring them back onto the very, very long straight here, the Bentley Straight, where you get a good run. And watching the production GTIs, you'll see that nobody really has any big power advantage here, because in other forms of motorsport, when you've got the bigger engine cars, you'll see them catch up and pass. And this is all about how you exit the corners, how you set yourself up for the corner at the end of the straight, which is where Chris Webb is. And as you can see, Webb now coming under a little bit of pressure from Alistair Miles again as they come down towards the bum hole. It's Chris Sanders following them, and now this sweep down into Coram. So Webb here looking for a podium. The race leaders go through. It's still in front, WITTS and Tingle, with Webb, Miles, Sanders, Tomlinson, Paris, Josh Johnson there in 21. The red car of Dean Clayton. I think Adam Hance will still be there just behind those guys, coming up coming along the Senna straight, having come out of the virtually 90-degree Murray's corner. We could have a 3-wide shot here as they come across the line. Paris on the inside of Johnson, but we go back to 23rd place. Alistair Lindsay, James Colborne looking for the pass. We've got Ian Webb in the mix as well, one of the men we heard from before the start of the race, the Teekay Couplings man, and they're all enjoying it. Paul Cowland is behind as well, the yellow and blue car, busy chasing Ian Webb. So really good 4-way battle there with Alistair Lindsay, 23rd place at the moment, hanging on to it from James Colborne. I have to differentiate between James Colborne, who you might know from the Clio Cup, but this is the view from Adam Hance. Dean Clayton still in front and goes to the inside line as they go into Agostini. The red car makes the pass on David Paris, and you can see Adam Hance trying to get on terms as well. Short straight up towards Hamilton as they come out of Agostini, so we might see some more passing. Lots of different places to pass here on the 300 circuit at Snetterton. This is the view from Adam Hance. David Paris up front. Is Hance going to have a look as they go into Oggies? There's certainly a little bit of a gap there, but Paris is going to try and come across, leaves the door open. Clean, fair racing. He realised the door was open, and Hance is going to come through on the second part of the corner. He's going to have to keep it tight on the exit, so Paris here, if he's given room, might have more of a run and a sweep out of the corner. They're still side by side as a result. Terrific racing between the pair of them. The key thing here for Paris is that he's got the inside line for the Brundle-Nelson complex. As we go back to Chris Webb in 67, still running well and trying to catch Jason Tingle with the 65 car. Chris Webb, remember, qualified. We didn't tell you where he qualified, but it was 6th position on the grid, so a terrific start, terrific opening lap for him. And back to Alistair Miles and Chris Sanders as the race leader goes on to the last lap. So it's Thomas Witts leading. Here is Jason Tingle in second. Join us after the break for more. Welcome back to Snetterton, the last lap of the opening race of the 2015 Teekay Couplings Production GTI Championship. This for the Mark II Golfs. Remember, we've had Mark V racing already. And this is the battle for second position. Jason Tingle being chased by Chris Webb. Webb earned his way up onto the podium in the first lap of the race, and now he wants to go a step further. In car with Chris Webb then, the third place man. Thomas Witts is still out front. Jason Tingle immediately in front of us, and if you look for the orange car, the race leader in the distance, accentuated a little bit by the camera, but as you can see, Webb has not given up the chance of second position. So Webb running exceptionally well, and down the Bentley straight they go. Now Webb here ideally would have been closer, maybe looked at the inside line into Brundle, coming into Nelson, the right-hander, heading down into the bomb hole, and then it's around the very, very fast sweeping corner through the bomb hole now, as you can see. And out front though, Thomas Witts has got a fairly decent lead, certainly in production saloon racing, a 4-second lead, not too bad at all. He's on his last lap and comes out of Murray's for the last time and head along the centre straight to see the checkered flag. So it's going to be Thomas Witts who takes the win. There is the checkered flag. Witts takes it. Here's the battle for second. Jason Tingle still being chased by Chris Webb, who finished second and third. Alistair Miles from Christopher Sanders. Adam Hance came through for sixth, but a delighted Thomas Witts opens the Mark II campaign for 2015 with a win from pole position. And here's confirmation of the result. Witts from Tingle, Chris Webb third from Alistair Miles, Christopher Sanders and Adam Hance next from Josh Johnson, Alex Nuttall eighth from Tim Hartland and Simon Tomlinson. Dean Clayton was next from David Paris and Matthew Weller. Then Paul Foreman and Chris Bagley, followed by Paul Blackburn, Tim Cox. Then Andrew Aldridge wins the Class B from Darcy Smith. Luke Wales second in Class B. Roy Fothergill third in Class B ahead of Matthew Petts, James Colborne, Ian Webb 24th from Alistair Lindsay, Andrew Pointer, Paul Cowland and Wesley Chatterton. No non-finishers in the race at all, testament to preparation and driving standards as the race winners come into Parc Fermé and prepare themselves for the spoils of victory on the podium here at Snetterton. Messrs Witts, Tingle and Webb celebrating.
Congratulations, first place.
Thank you very much, yeah, cheers. What a mega way to start the season with the pole and that, and then just managed to bridge the gap early on. Just scarfed it away and just kept looking in my mirrors and kept pushing all the way through to keep that gap. I know Jason and Chris are both quick lads, so if the tyres were going to go off, they were going to come and challenge, so I wanted to make sure I had enough of a gap just to keep that off. So yeah, mega start.
Congratulations, second time for the podium today, well done.
Thank you very much. So it's a bit more of a tough race, that one. Trying to fight off third towards the end, but still managed to keep the second, but not going to catch Tom in that race anyway.
So for your second race, you're going to change your strategy?
I'd like to, but my strategy with ends was to go as fast as I could, and I still couldn't catch him, but fair play to him. I don't know what the car's like under there, but I'll tell you what, he's got some horsepower, so.
Well done, great to see you here at the podium.
Yeah, didn't expect that, but yeah, good to see you two here, and yeah, it was great fun, really, really good fun race, right up to the end. Right up to the end. There was, I was catching on Jason towards the end, and I threw everything at it. I think it was almost on two wheels at the last corner, but he was he had that place. That was it. So.
But it's great though that you can actually have a race.
Yeah, really, really good race, and everyone was starting to pull away a little bit, and then towards the end, it all started to bunch a little bit between me and Jason. So it was a really fun race. Good sprint.
Chris Webb talking about his dice with Jason Tingle, and Jason's got to do it all again because he is in orange. He starts on the front row, race 2 of the Mark 5s, and they get away. It's a clean start in car with Robert Sadler. It's a very good start indeed by Martin Walsh, who's going around the outside, but Jason Tingle's very good through the gears. They go down to riches for the first time. Simon Hill is involved as well. He's in 4th position, and you'll see the blue and white means that we've got Chris Adams, who retired from race number 1, back out on the circuit and racing. So it's a full complement of the 6 cars for this inaugural meeting. Martin Walsh gets forced a little bit wide there, and Simon Hill looking for 2nd position. Outside line at Palmer, I beg your pardon, that's Robert Sadler looking on the outside line. So they come out of Palmer, and Sadler, you can see, running a little bit too wide, and there is Simon Hill going through, chased in black by Craig Fleming. So Fleming's up to 4th, Hill is 3rd, ahead of them Martin Walsh and Jason Tingle, the race leader. And now at the back of the field, after that excursion, is Robert Sadler. So we've got Chris Adams in blue up to 5th, but the race leader, Jason Tingle, fresh from his 2nd position in the Mark IIs, Martin Walsh second. Through Oggies they go and up towards Williams and then onto the long straight. For the uninitiated, of course, the Mark V, a 2-litre car, the Mark II's 1800cc. And if you've just joined us here on Motors TV, this is the inaugural meeting for the Mark Vs, and it's running as a series, which is what the MSA will do. You're allowed to run races as a series rather than a fully fledged championship. That's exactly what happened, of course, with the Mark IIs when they started back in 2011, and there's no reason to suppose that this, as I say, won't move into full championship status for 2016. Jason Tingle, though, or Jason Orange as we could call him, is the race leader. Martin Walsh second. There is Craig Fleming. And as you can see, the Teekay Couplings car has got through into 5th position now, ahead of Chris Adams. So the Stapleford Abbott's driver Chris Adams down in 6th, but significantly here getting some mileage. And he'll have a look at Robert Sadler. Sadler in qualifying was second fastest, so we'll get a good look at his lines. Simon Hill running in 3rd, so potential podium pace here for Hill, who's trying to close in on Martin Walsh big time. And Jason Tingle, having set pole position in qualifying, fastest lap in race 1, will be looking to do the same again. In car with Robert Sadler, again looking at the back end of Craig Fleming's car, number 7. That's the duo coming down towards us rather than the trio that we see at the moment. So it's Tingle, Walsh and Hill, followed by Fleming in black immediately in front of us, and Robert Sadler we go in car with, and Sadler trying everything that he can to try and overcome the black car. At the moment I think he's too far back to do anything about the Taunton-based driver Craig Fleming in the TSR performance car. Fair old drive from Taunton to come and race this weekend, the ex-single-seater star. So Robert Sadler again putting the pressure on. Chris Adams still there behind in 6th position, and now lap-wise all of the drivers are lapping in the 2:14s, apart from Martin Walsh, who's got the fastest lap of the race, and we went in car with him there briefly. So Walsh is actually lapping in the 2 minutes 13s, and he's got a 2 minute 13.905. Not as far as Jason Tingle in race number 1, but this augurs well for the race, because it means the second place car we're in car with has got slightly more pace on his best lap than the race leader. Simon Hill still 3rd. 4th position though is Craig Fleming. Fleming followed by Robert Sadler, and Robert not able to do anything. Again, like the Mark IIs, these very evenly matched cars, it's very difficult to find an advantage. It's got to be in car setup and driving, maybe the way that you get the lines on the corner as we go on to the last lap. Tingle goes through. Martin Walsh now in 2nd, and Simon Hill is down to 3rd place. So Simon Hill is still Jason Tingle out front. Martin Walsh with the fastest lap. Craig Fleming, I think, is closing in on Simon Hill as well. We go back to watch the 51 car. The man from Knutsford in Cheshire is still in 3rd. Robert Sadler, meanwhile, still all over the back end of the number 7 car. He's been hounding the number 7 car all the way through the race, and at the moment just can't seem to find that extra little bit. Coming down into Agostini they go. Simon Hill particularly defensive there, keeping it very tight on the way in. Sadler's going to have a look round the outside. That's for the brave. He'll tuck back in, maybe look at Hamilton. Chris Adams goes through. Again, you can see Adams getting some good lappery here, and not too far adrift of the 5th place car. So the top 6, not a huge amount to choose between all of the cars, but here is Jason Tingle, who's still out front. The gap is not particularly big. In race 10 he won by 4 seconds. It's going to be a lot closer than that here in the second of our Mark V production GTI races. They go down the Bentley Straight. Here is Martin Walsh, 2nd position, down the Bentley Straight, under the bridge, coming into Brundle, changes down, turns in, takes the apex. He'll go into the right-hander now, and he perhaps senses there might be a chance of victory. If there's a mistake from Tingle, we might see Martin Walsh close up. They go through the bomb hole for the last time. For my money, I can't see Tingle making a mistake here, but they go through Coram. Tingle's taking the wide racing line. Walsh is still chasing up, but it's Jason Tingle still out front. The man from Horncastle in Lincolnshire is leading this one and comes out of Murray's for the last time, and he is going to make it a double in the Mark 5s. Martin Walsh will take second. There's the checkered flag. You can see a race on for third place, so it's Tingle from Walsh. In car with Rob Sadler, and Craig Fleming's going to go through. Simon Hill's car drops to 5th place on the line. Craig Fleming's come through for a podium. Well, here's the result. Jason Tingle makes it 2 out of 2. Martin Walsh second with fastest lap. Craig Fleming completes the podium. Then it was Robert Sadler, Simon Hill 5th, and Chris Adams means all 6 cars finish the second race for the Mark 5s. Here's the podium. Martin Walsh, Jason Tingle in the middle, and Robert Sadler ending a happy day here at Snetterton.
Jason, a very familiar face on the podium here. Well done, a fantastic weekend for you.
Yeah, very good weekend, especially with racing the other car. I'm getting a bit tired towards the end of the day, but kept that consistent. Walsh was pressuring me all the way, but towards the end I just kept it consistent and kept that gap, and he never fought for the lead, fortunately for me.
Well done, here we are back again, another second place.
Yeah, I'm chuffed to bits. Like I said, it was the first time we've driven the car today, so to come away with 2 podiums is great. I know there's a small field, but it can only get better from here.
I mean, the size of the field doesn't really matter because every single one of you are competitive, every single one of you is racing to win. So to come in second is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, hopefully the quality overshone the quantity, but yeah, it was great. I just could not get anywhere near, well, I was close to Jason, but yeah, the cars are so evenly matched. Just couldn't get that last little bit to get up alongside and make a challenge. So fair play, drove a great race.
Third place on the podium, congratulations. How did you manage to keep up the pace?
It was a shame we weren't a bit quicker to begin with, really, but it's my first ever saloon car race, so it's a bit different driving these compared to what I'm used to. It's the first competition car that TSR Performance have built for 15 years, so it's not a bad day, really, and they've done a fabulous job with the car, and I can't thank them enough for what they've done with their efforts in getting it ready for us.
Race 2 with Thomas Witts and Jason Tingle on the front row. Andrew Aldridge is the poleman for Class B back in 18th, having won that, and away we go. 29 cars at the start. Fantastically well supported championship. In car with Chris Webb, who is in 3rd position. Adam Hartz in 22 gets away well, 3 wide. It's Miles Johnson with Sanders on the inside line. And here's Ian Webb going for the big burn-up round the outside. Webb starts 24th and he's trying to make a play, and the race leader was off. Thomas Witts was on the grass. Now, how much momentum has he lost? We'll see as the leaders go down into Palmer. Well, we're in car with Chris Webb, who's in 2nd position. So Chris Webb is 2nd, and the race leader is Jason Tingle. So down into Agostini, and you can see back in 5th position is Thomas Witts, who's trying to tuck in. He's having a look at the inside of Christopher Sanders, who at the moment is 4th, but I think he's about to lose that because Witts has got the line going up into Hamilton. Adam Hartz is there in 22. Sanders side by side with Witts, who gets his nose in front. Oh, and a little bit of a wiggle on there, and Sanders gets a wheel on the grass. That could have been very nasty. It was bad enough for Sanders. It's amazing nobody collected him. Here's the view from Ian Webb. Wow. Alistair Miles rejoins after that. He went off in avoidance, but comes back on track now with cars, or with a car stranded on the circuit. The safety car is coming out. Now, this is a very, very long lap to scramble a safety car over, because it's a 3-mile circuit, and in 15 minutes, effectively, you're only going to get seven laps in race 1. That's what we had in race 1, 7 laps, and this is going to be a slightly shortened one because on the timed races, the safety car eats into the track time. There is Josh Johnson. So it's Tingle from Webb, Hartz and Witts at the moment. Josh Johnson dicing with Adam Hartz, and makes it pass in the 22 car, passed by the 21 machine. So Adam Hartz comes from Milton Keynes. He's going to have to try and challenge his way back. They come through Palmer. Our camera down at Agostini, still being greeted by the green flags, but out front it's Jason Tingle from Chris Webb. 3rd position now Thomas Witts, the race winner from race 1. Look out, frenetic. It's getting behind, very, very close indeed. was Tim Hartland and Alex Nuttall who were dicing behind, and Adam Hart still trying to get on terms with Josh Johnson. So going down in towards Oggies and back onto the back straight here. This 3-mile circuit. Some clubs have 2 meetings at Snetterton per year, one on the 200 circuit, which is effectively the original outside layout, or the previously most recent layout. As we look at Tim Hartland and Alex Nuttall still engaged in battle. Nuttall getting a good run out of that corner onto the Bentley straight. And a challenge on for second position, and Thomas Witts looking very, very racy here against Chris Webb, but Webb gets the inside line going through Nelson, maintains second place. Thomas Witts goes out for the racing line as they go through the bomb hole. This might afford him more momentum into Coram. We'll see. Webb goes very defensive indeed, and Witts is going to go for the sweep around the outside if he can do it. It's not for the faint-hearted, this. You do see some cars that are able to do it, but Witts can't do that at the moment. Josh Johnson's coming up into the mix as well, and then Adam Hart's right behind him, but they're through Murray's onto the centre straight again. No question at the moment that Chris Webb is rightly being defensive. How close to the pit wall is he going to go? Pretty defensive. He doesn't want to leave a gap for the race 1 winner to go through. Now Witts is having a very good look. We thought it might have been Witts' end after that incident on race 1 when he was on the grass, but he's fought back in the Carvel Motorsport machine, but he's coming under pressure now from Josh Johnson. He's going round the outside into the hairpin at Montreal, but Webb is better on the brakes and has got the defensive line, so Chris Webb hangs on to second, maybe added a little bit by Josh Johnson, but as he left the door open going down into Palmer, and Witts is going to go through, he does. So Webb just left the smallest of gaps, and Witts goes through back into second position. So the race leader is Jason Tingle. He's away down the road at the moment. Let's have a look and see if we can see There's Jason, 65, coming down into Agostini. Thomas Witts second. Chris Webb will try and hang on to him. Side by side behind them. 15, 9 and 22. Alex Nuttall, Tim Hartland and Adam Hart. But we go back in car with Chris Webb. Now, is he losing ground on the second place man? Ideally, he needs to try and work with the second place man, because there are opportunities here to draft along the centre straight, along the back straight as well. So this is Alistair Lindsay again. We saw him in race number 1, still dicing with Paul Cowland. They've got Ian Webb in the mix up front as well, Wesley Chatterton. And the blue car is Chris Sanders, who was recovered. So Chris Sanders catching these guys, and although he had that very disappointing moment earlier on in the race, he finds himself at the back of the field, but he's finding drivers to race with. So Alistair Lindsay heading Paul Cowland at the moment, and it's the outside line that Chris Sanders is going to pick and see whether he can go past Wesley Chatterton. Wesley running in Class B, as is Paul Cowland, the 8-valve class as opposed to the 16 valves, and the more powerful car, the 16-valve car, goes past and is going to try now and see if he can get on terms with Alistair Lindsay in 34. Alistair running in Class A. I think he's seen the faster car coming, left a little bit of a gap there. Through the bomb hole they go, so it is really good progress for Christopher Sanders. I know he's going to be gutted with what happened in the race, but he's driving well. Very, very difficult in such evenly matched cars to make such progress, but he's doing a good job of things at the moment. And out of the race by the look of it, Paul Blackburn in 83, and also Paul Foreman go into retirement. But back in car with Chris Webb, who is now all over the back of Jason Tingle, and that must mean, yes it does, that Thomas Witts is the race leader. We're on the last lap, and it looks like a problem. It's a problem then for Jason Tingle. Flame out of the back. Look how Chris Webb has left him. The race leader is Thomas Witts once again, and we've got Chris Webb in second place. And we need to look back and see what's going to happen to the third place man, because Josh Johnson is catching Jason Tingle now. Tingle very clearly has a problem, but Thomas Witts here looks like he's going to make it a double. Witts was fastest in qualifying, won race 1, took the fastest lap. He's got the fastest lap in this one as well. with his fastest race lap of the meeting back on lap 5, 2 minutes 20.5, averaging nearly 80 miles an hour. Along the straight he goes, and there's the checkered flag. It is Thomas Witts who opens the Teekay Couplings Mark II Production GTI Championship with a double win from Chris Webb. Josh Johnson just got the better there of Jason Tingle to take 4th position, with Tim Hartland coming through in 5th place. Then it was Adam Hance and Alex Nuttall 7th from David Paris. Dean Clayton comes home in 9th place ahead of Alistair Miles. Just want to confirm Thomas Witt's fastest lap, Luke Wales' fastest lap in Class B. 11th goes to Simon Tomlinson from Chris Bagley, then Tim Cox, Darcy Smith. Andrew Aldridge makes it a double in Class B from Luke Wales. James Colborne next, then Matthew Petts, Ian Webb, Chris Sanders recovers for 20th. Andrew Pointer, Alistair Lindsay, Paul Cowland, Wesley Chatterton and Matthew Weller completing the finishes. A few non-finishes in that one as the meeting went on. But here are the spoils of victory. Witts, Webb and this time Johnson on the podium for round 2 here at Snetterton.
Second win today, absolutely thrilled of it.
Yeah, what a mega way to start the season. It's just been a perfect weekend. I mean, I had to work for it then. Got dropped to sort of 6 on the first corner during an incident and just had to sort of work my way back through. But yeah, we had the pace of weekend and I knew that, so I just calmed myself down when the safety car was out and pulled them off one by one and yeah, went from there really. So yeah, fantastic.
Fantastic. 3rd in race 1, 2nd in race 2.
Yeah, very happy with that. It was a really good race. The safety car came out. I didn't see what had gone on there, but it was in again really quickly. And Jason had the run on me coming off the safety car, which he did really well with. And then Tom came back through again. He had some really good pace. And then yeah, it was really unfortunate for Jason because he got stuck in 3rd on the back straight. So I kind of inherited that one, but I'll take that, I think.
Congratulations, 3rd place. You must be really, really pleased.
Thank you very much, thank you. Yes, I am very pleased with that, very pleased. Probably, well, good start to the season, that's for sure.
We saw the safety car out. Did that actually make a difference to you?
I'd like to say yes, but everybody else got the drop on me. Once the safety car pulled in, I just didn't quite click it, and everybody managed to get the drop on me there, but just made it up when I think Tingle had a bit of a gearbox issue and I just managed to pip 3rd then.
It's been a great day here for the production GTIs, particularly for the introduction to the Mark V. Been brilliant for them. We really do hope that we can see them again later in the season. Do please join us and let's see how they get on.